I'm Aoife Bergeron, and this is my senior showcase. This is work that I made over the course of the 4 years for in-school assignments and out-of-school camps and classes. Here I have an in-school assignment. It was to do foreshortening, which is a technique where when objects come close to you in the camera, then they get bigger. So I have my hand here, and I tried to do it as much as I could in color pencil to find different colors. Like there's purple in my hand, which you don't usually see. The one above it it's all drawn with one line and then gone over with chalk pastels. I had to use multiple faces of myself, my self-portrait, and overlap them and use color in a unique way. So I had to do at least 3 faces. I decided to do 6. Took the emotion of how draining school can be and put it into this to bring all the faces together somehow. This one was from the beginning of my senior year. The prompt was identity, and I didn't know what objects to do or what kind of self-portrait. So I decided to shade only using words. So I have words throughout saying different things about who I am or wondering about who I am and explaining myself. We have a big run-on sentence here. It gets dense, and I tried to make it pretty readable in certain places. My eyebrows say, "Who am I? I am Aoife," and I added in some embroidery to add a pop of color and make it sort of mixed media, since a lot of my pieces are very much just all the same, like a paint, collage, charcoal. This was from my sophomore year. We were doing linoleum prints with watercolor, and you could sort of make it whatever you wanted. So I decided to make it this little bee and add a lot of detail to the bee and write "Oh honey." This was difficult because when you do printing, you have to write it all backwards to then flip it. So then I had to figure out how to write that backwards. And then I painted honeycombs and dripping honey on the back of it. This was an out-of-school assignment, but for my fine arts class. And I had to make a series of 4 pieces that all went for the same theme. And my theme was sort of tied into mental health and identity as well. And so this is sort of an embodiment of stress, anxiety, and negative emotions on a person. So there I am, and all these little blobs sort of tie to a different stressor or anxiety causing thing in my life. This one is from freshman year, and we were using the scratch board here, which starts black, and then you scrape it away to reveal the white. So it's sort of the opposite of what you'd see here, where you add the black. So I drew this cat, and it was nice because it has all the fur, so you can use a lot of detail with scratch board, and show the little directions of the fur. It's a collage covered in wax, so I have pieces from magazines and also a plane ticket from my trip to Ireland and another ticket from the Blarney Castle. So it was a whole theme of Ireland and my trip there before freshman year. And I tied it all together with the green wax on top of it as well. Next, I have a still life, and this is all done in pencil. This was nice to work on the shiny objects, like the cameras and the film, and really get the darkest darks I could with the pencil here, but also show the light and how smooth things were. This one is a watercolor piece, and the theme or the prompt was a refuge. So the refuge I chose was music, and I have me here listening to music, but I'm inside of a guitar, which is hard to see at first. And then I have a little record player sitting in the corner there, and it's sort of how listening to music and playing music can be an escape. I like the watercolor feel for it because it sort of lightens it all, makes it kind of dreamlike and in a very unrealistic space. Above it is my most recent piece in here. This is a collage. The only prompt of the collage was to create an expressive self-portrait. So I chose this picture of me laughing, smiling, to really show emotion in it. And then I added in, and it was all in shadow, so that's why it's all purple. But then I used colors like orange and green in the background to really contrast the purple. And I added in lots of little things that I liked. We have a little Mike Wazowski here where there's some maps of places I've been to and things like visual arts and this Michelangelo figure here. to sort of tie it all together to really make it more than just a self-portrait. Above it is another piece from sophomore year that is a watercolor painting of some glass bottles. This one's difficult because it's hard to really seeing a clear object and like, how do I paint this? So it's really hard to pick out all the colors in there, but it was interesting to do and it's really fun. These two figures here are from a class I took the summer between my freshman year and sophomore year. It was a figure drawing class, and so some pieces we did only lasted for 2 minutes. The person would sit in the pose for 2 minutes and we just sketch it out really fast. But these ones lasted for about 20 or 15 minutes, and I used only watercolor to carve out the different shapes and create the figure. We pretty much just had to take a landscape or a figure and paint it out, and I liked how when it's raining in cities with all the lights and things on the road, you sort of see reflections on the water, and I wanted to point that out as much as possible, show the different effects that the rain gives in the water, because watercolor can really show that. This here is also from this year, my senior year. The prompt was a family portrait without actually showing your family. I made a list of different objects that I could think of that represented my different family members, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister. When I was making this list, I realized everyone sort of had a cup that represented them, or they used a lot. So I have here them all sitting at our sink to sort of put them into a realistic place rather than just a still life. And I have my coffee cup, my mom's mug, my dad's coffee mug, my sister and my brother's water bottle, and also my dog's water bowl, because he's as much of a part of his family as everyone else. This person just making a mess dyeing their hair, or was there a murder scene? It sort of alludes to a murder scene with all the clues. I still think it was pretty cool to use this new technique with watercolor that I hadn't used before, and to learn from someone outside of the high school, in addition to what I all know from Mrs. Jackson and Mrs. Broads here at Medway High.